The sky was on fire. Queen Yuna ran through the broken halls of her palace. The walls around her were cracking. Dust fell from the ceiling. The sound of explosions was everywhere. She could hear screaming in the distance. The Keth had come. After years of threats, after years of small battles at the edges of their territory, the enemy had finally come for her world. Their ships filled the sky like angry insects. Their bombs fell like rain. Yuna was young for a queen. She had only ruled for 3 years, ever since her mother died. The Valari people looked to her for hope. But right now, she had no hope to give. She only had fear. "This way, my queen," said Captain Dury. He was old and strong, with silver skin like all Valari. His eyes glowed soft blue in the darkness. He had served her mother before her. Now, he ran beside her, his weapon ready. There were 6 guards with them. 6 was all that remained from the 50 who had protected the palace that morning. The rest were dead. They moved through a narrow passage. The palace had many secret paths. Yuna's mother had shown them to her when she was just a child. "Remember these?" her mother had said. "One day, you may need them." That day had come. A blast shook the ground. Yuna fell. Captain Dury caught her arm and pulled her up. "We must keep moving," he said. "The bunker is close." They ran faster. Then the Keth found them. The enemy soldiers came from a side passage. There were 10 of them. They were tall and covered in black armor. Their faces were hidden behind dark masks. They made a clicking sound when they spoke to each other. Captain Dury pushed Yuna behind him. "Protect the queen," he shouted. The guards formed a wall in front of her. They fired their weapons. Blue light filled the narrow passage. 2 Keth soldiers fell. Then 3 more appeared from behind them. Yuna watched her guards die. One by one, they fell. She saw Dury take a blade to his chest. He looked at her one last time, his blue eyes flickering. "Run," he whispered. Then he was gone. She ran. Yuna did not know where she was going. The palace was broken and burning. Every path looked the same. She could hear the Keth behind her, their heavy boots hitting the stone floor. They were close. She turned a corner and found herself in a dead end. A wall of broken stone blocked her path. There was nowhere to go. She turned around. The Keth soldiers appeared in the passage. There were 4 of them now. They moved slowly toward her. They knew she had no escape. Yuna stood tall. She would not beg. She would not cry. She was a queen, and she would die like one. One of the Keth raised his weapon. "The queen dies here," he said in broken common. "The war ends tonight." Yuna closed her eyes. The sound of gunfire filled the air. But she felt nothing. No pain. No death. She opened her eyes. A figure stood in front of her. It was small compared to the Keth. It wore dirty gray armor with many scratches. It held a simple gun in one hand and a knife in the other. It was bleeding from several wounds. It was human. Yuna had never seen a human before. She had heard of them. Everyone in the galaxy had heard of them. A young species from a small world. Not very strong. Not very advanced. But somehow, they kept spreading across the stars. The human fired his gun again. A Keth soldier fell. The other 3 charged at him. What happened next, Yuna would never forget. The human did not fight like the Valari. Her people were graceful and careful. They moved like water. This human moved like fire. He was wild, fast, and brutal. He took hits that should have stopped him, but he kept going. A Keth blade cut his arm, and he used that same arm to drive his knife into the attacker's throat. He was hurt badly. Yuna could see that. Blood ran down his face. His left leg dragged behind him, but he did not stop. He could not stop. The last Keth soldier fell. The human stood among the bodies, breathing hard. His gun was empty. His knife was red. He turned to look at her. His eyes were brown like the dirt of her garden. They were tired and full of pain. "Are you hurt?" he asked. His voice was rough. Yuna shook her head. She could not find words. "Good," he said. "We need to move. More will come." He started walking, then stopped. He looked back at her. Well, are you coming? Yuna followed him. He seemed to know the palace. He moved through the passages with purpose. Yuna later learned that he had found an old map in a crashed Valari ship. He had been studying it when the attack started. Who are you? She finally asked. Tesu, he said. Sergeant Tesu Park. I was a soldier. Now I am just trying to survive. Why did you save me? He did not answer for a long moment. They kept walking. Finally he said, I do not know. I saw you there. I saw them about to kill you, and I could not walk away. He paused. Maybe I am stupid. No almost smiled. Maybe you are brave. Same thing sometimes? They reached the bunker. It was deep underground, hidden behind heavy doors. Tesu entered the codes that Yuna gave him. The doors opened. Inside was dark, but safe. They stepped inside. The doors closed behind them. Tesu took 3 more steps. Then he fell. Yuna rushed to his side. He was still breathing, but barely. His wounds were worse than she had thought. He had lost too much blood. His skin was pale, almost white. Help. Yuna called out. There were others in the bunker. Servants, a few guards. A doctor. The doctor came running. He looked at the human on the floor. He is not Valari, he said. I do not know if I can help him, Yuna said. It was not a request. It was a command. The doctor worked through the night. Yuna did not leave. Her advisors told her to rest. They told her that the human was not important. He was just a stranger who happened to be in the right place. But Yuna remembered the look in his eyes when he stood between her and death. She remembered how he kept fighting when his body was broken. She remembered his question. Are you hurt? He had asked about her first, not about himself. The Valari had a word for such people. They called them Selkai. It meant those who carry others. It was a rare thing, a precious thing. Yuna sat beside the human called Tesu and waited for him to wake up. She did not know what would happen next. She did not know if her world would survive. But she knew one thing. She would not let this human die. Not today. Not ever. Tesu opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was light. Soft blue light. It came from everywhere and nowhere. He was floating in something warm. It felt like water, but it was not water. It held him gently, like a mother holding a child. He tried to move. His body felt strange. Heavy and light at the same time. Not move yet, a voice said. The healing is almost done. Tesu turned his head. A Valari stood beside the strange pool he was floating in. She was tall and beautiful, with silver skin that seemed to glow. Her eyes were bright blue, like stars. He knew her. She was the queen, the one he had saved. How long? His throat was dry. 3 days, Queen Yuna said. You almost died. 3 days. Tesu closed his eyes. He remembered the fight in the palace. He remembered the blood and the pain. He remembered falling in the bunker. The Keth. He asked, They control the surface. But they have not found us yet. The bunker is well hidden. Tesu nodded slowly. Then I should go. The queen looked at him with a strange expression. Go where? Away? I have a ship. Or I did. Maybe I can find another. He started to move, trying to get out of the healing pool. Yuna placed a hand on his shoulder. Her touch was cool and soft. You cannot leave. Your wounds are healed, but your body is still weak. And the Keth are everywhere. You would die before you reached the surface. I have survived worse. I doubt that. Tesu looked at her. There was something in her eyes. Something he could not understand. Why do you care? He asked. I am nobody. Just a human. A stranger. The queen was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, You've saved my life. Among my people, that is not a small thing. It was nothing. It was everything. Yuna stood taller. Her voice became stronger. Tesu Park, I invoke the ancient law of Selvari, the bond of lives. You saved me from certain death. Now our fates are connected. I name you my sworn protector, bound to me until the debt is repaid. Taesu stared at her. What? You heard me? No? He shook his head. No, I did not sign up for this. I do not want to be anyone's protector. I am a soldier. I fight, I get paid, I leave. That is how it works. Not anymore. Taesu climbed out of the pool. He was wearing simple white clothes. His weapons were gone. He looked around the room and saw a door. He walked toward it. Where are you going? Yuna asked. Away from here. Away from you? He pushed through the door and found himself in a long hallway. The walls were smooth and silver. He did not know where to go, so he picked a direction and started walking. He heard footsteps behind him. Light footsteps. He did not look back. You cannot leave the bunker, Yuna said, walking beside him now. The Keth will kill you. Maybe that is what I want. Yuna stopped. Taesu kept walking. Then he heard her voice, soft and clear. Is that true? Do you really want to die? He stopped. He did not turn around. His hands made fists at his sides. I had a team, he said quietly. 8 soldiers. Good soldiers. They trusted me. I led them into a mission that went wrong. They all died. I was the only one who lived. He paused. I have been trying to find a good death ever since. He heard Yuna walk up behind him. She did not touch him, but he could feel her presence. And did you find it? She asked. No, I keep surviving. I do not know why. Maybe because you are meant for something more than death. Taesu finally turned around. You do not know me. You do not know what I have done. I am not a hero. I am not a protector. I am just a broken man with blood on his hands. Yuna looked at him for a long time. Then she said, I know what I saw. I saw a man who ran toward danger, not away from it. I saw a man who fought with everything he had to save someone he did not know. I saw a man who asked if I was hurt before he fell. She stepped closer. That is not a broken man. That is a good man who has been hurt. Taesu did not know what to say. Yuna said, Not forever. Just until the war is over. Help me protect my people. And then, if you still want to leave, I will not stop you. You have soldiers, guards, most of them are dead. The ones who remain are scared. They need hope. They need to see strength. She looked into his eyes. You have strength. I saw it. Taesu thought about it. He thought about his dead team. He thought about all the years he had spent wandering from planet to planet, looking for a fight that would finally end him. He was so tired. Fine, he said at last. I will stay. But I make no promises. When this is over, I am gone.
Yuna nodded.
That is fair. They returned to the bunker's main hall. It was large and filled with people. Valari of all ages, from children to elders. They had fled here when the attack started. Now they lived in fear, waiting for the Keth to find them. When they saw Yuna, they stood. When they saw Taesu, they whispered, That is the human, someone said. The one who saved the queen? He is so small, is covered in scars. Yuna raised her hand. The whispers stopped. This is Taesu Park, she announced. He saved my life when no one else could. I have named him my sworn protector under the law of Selvari. He will stand beside me until the war is won. The crowd was silent. Then an old Valari stepped forward. He was tall and proud, with white marks on his silver skin. He was Lord Han, the oldest of the Queen's advisors. My queen, he said carefully, this is most unusual. The Selvari has not been invoked in 1,000 years, and never with an outsider. Never with a human. There is a first time for everything, Yuna replied. The people will not accept it. He is not one of us. He fought for us when our own guards fell. He bled for us. He almost died for us. Yuna's eyes were hard. That makes him one of us. Lord Han looked at Taesu. The human looked back without fear. Can you protect her? Lord Han asked. Yes, Taesu said simply. How can you be sure? Taesu thought about it. Because I have nothing else to lose. A man with nothing to lose is very hard to stop. Lord Han studied him for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. Perhaps you are right, human. Perhaps you are exactly what we need. The crowd began to move again. Some still whispered, but the feeling had changed. There was less fear now. Something like hope was beginning to grow. Yuna turned to Taesu. Come, I will show you where you will sleep. And tomorrow, we will begin planning how to fight back. Taesu followed her. As they walked, he said, You took a big risk. Trusting me like that, I know. What if I let you down? Yuna looked at him over her shoulder. There was a small smile on her face. You will not? How do you know? Because you are still here. A man who truly wanted to die would not have saved a stranger. He would have let the Keth kill us both. You want to live, Taesu Park? You have just forgotten why. Taesu did not answer. But somewhere deep inside him, in a place he thought was long dead, he felt something stir. Maybe she was right. Maybe he had been looking for the wrong thing all along. Maybe he was not looking for death. Maybe he was looking for a reason to live. 3 months passed. The war continued above them. The Keth controlled the surface of the Valari homeworld. Their ships patrolled the sky. Their soldiers marched through the empty cities. They were looking for the queen, but they could not find her. The bunker was deep and well hidden. The Valari had built it long ago, in case of great danger. It had food, water, and power. It could hold 1,000 people for many years. But the Valari did not want to hide forever. They wanted their world back. Taesu trained them. Every day, he worked with the guards who remained. He taught them human ways of fighting. He taught them to be quick and dirty. He taught them to use the darkness and the narrow passages. The Valari way of fighting was beautiful, but slow. The human way was ugly, but effective. War is not about looking good, he told them. It is about staying alive and making the enemy dead. Some of the guards did not like him. They thought he was rude and rough. They did not understand why the queen trusted him so much. But others started to respect him. They saw how hard he worked. They saw how he never asked them to do anything he would not do himself. They saw the scars on his body and understood that he had earned his knowledge with blood. Queen Yuna watched all of this. She watched from the shadows, from the balconies above the training rooms. She watched the human turn her frightened people into fighters, and every night she talked with him. It started by accident. One night, Yuna could not sleep. She walked through the bunker and found Taesu, sitting alone in a small room, staring at nothing. You should rest, she said. I do not sleep well, he replied. Never have. She sat down beside him. Tell me why. He did not answer at first. But slowly, over many nights, he began to share his story. He told her about Earth, the human homeworld. A small blue planet, beautiful and fragile. He told her about his family, gone now. His mother, who sang to him when he was small. His father, who taught him to be strong. His little sister, who laughed at everything. What happened to them? Yuna asked.
As you,
Taesu said quietly. A plague came to our colony. I was away, fighting in some stupid war. By the time I returned, they were gone. I am sorry. He shook his head. It was long ago. I have made peace with it. But his eyes said something different. Why Yuna shared her own pain. She told him about her mother, the old queen, who was killed by assassins. She told him about the fear she felt every day, the weight of an entire species on her shoulders. She told him about the loneliness of being a queen, surrounded by people, but understood by none. Everyone wants something from me, she said. Advice, decisions, hope. They look at me like I have all the answers. But I am just as lost as they are. Taesu looked at her. You hide it well. Have to. If they saw how afraid I am, they would fall apart. That sounds exhausting. She paused. But talking to you helps. You do not want anything from me. You do not treat me like a queen. You treat me like a person. You are a person, Yuna smiled. It was a real smile, rare and precious. Sometimes I forget that. The weeks passed. Tezu and Yuna grew closer. They were friends now, though neither used that word. The Valari court noticed. They whispered about the queen and the human. Lord Han warned her to be careful. He's not one of us, the old advisor said. The people talk. They say you spend too much time with him. Let them talk, Yuna replied. He is my protector. It is natural for us to be close. But she knew it was more than that. She did not have a name for it yet. Maybe she did not want to name it. Then the attack came. It was the night of a diplomatic meeting. Representatives from 3 other species had come to the bunker in secret. They wanted to discuss an alliance against the Keth. It was a great risk. But it was also a great opportunity. Tesu stood behind Yuna's chair throughout the meeting. He did not speak. He just watched. His eyes moved from face to face, always looking for danger. The meeting went well. The representatives agreed to consider the alliance. They shook hands with Yuna and prepared to leave. That was when the assassin struck. He was hidden among the servants. A Valari with a false face, actually a Keth agent in disguise. He moved fast, faster than anyone expected. A blade appeared in his hand, glowing with green poison. He aimed for Yuna's heart. Tesu moved faster. He pushed Yuna aside and took the blade in his shoulder. The pain was like fire, but he did not stop. He grabbed the assassin's arm and broke it. Then he threw the assassin to the ground and held him there until the guards came. Only then did he fall. Yuna screamed his name. She rushed to his side. The blade was still in his shoulder, and the green poison was spreading under his skin. "Get the doctor," she commanded. "Now." They pulled out the blade. They tried everything. Every medicine they had, every healing technique, nothing worked. The poison was Keth-made, designed to kill slowly and painfully. There was no cure known to the Verler. Days passed. Tesu lay on a bed, growing weaker by the hour. His skin was gray. His breathing was shallow. He drifted in and out of sleep. Yuna never left his side. "You have to let me go," he said one night. His voice was barely a whisper. "Find another protector. Someone stronger. There is no one stronger than you." "That is not true." "It is true to me." Tesu closed his eyes. "I was never worth saving, Yuna. I told you that from the beginning." Yuna took his hand. "It was cold. And I told you that you were wrong." That night, while Tesu slept, Yuna made a decision. She called Lord Han to her chamber. "I need a ship," she said. "A small one, fast and quiet." "For what purpose, my queen?" "I am going to the Keth." Lord Han's eyes went wide. "My queen, you cannot. It is suicide. The Keth have the antidote. They made the poison. They can cure it. They will kill you on sight. Maybe, maybe not." Yuna's eyes were hard. "I am going. You can help me, or you can try to stop me. But I would not advise the second option." Lord Han looked at her for a long moment. Then he sighed. "You were very much like your mother. She was just as stubborn. Is that a yes?" "It is a yes." That night, Yuna took a small ship and flew into enemy territory. She had no weapons, no guards, no plan except one. She would offer herself as a hostage. Her life for the antidote. The Keth wanted her dead. This was her only bargaining chip. She found the Keth warlord on his flagship. She walked into his throne room alone, with her head held high. "I want the antidote," she said. "Give it to me, and I will surrender myself to you." The warlord laughed. He was huge and ugly, with black scales and red eyes. "Why would I trade? I can take you now and keep the antidote," Yuna smiled. "Because if I do not return in 6 hours, my fleet will destroy your 3 colony worlds." "I gave the order before I came," was a lie. She had no such power. The Valari fleet was in hiding, barely able to fight. But the warlord did not know that. He studied her. She did not blink. She did not move. She stood like a queen. Finally he spoke. "Give her the antidote." A guard brought a small bottle. Yuna took it and walked out. No one stopped her. They were too surprised. She flew back to the bunker as fast as she could. She gave the antidote to the doctors. They injected it into Taesu's arm. Hours passed. Then, slowly, his color returned. His breathing grew stronger. The poison faded from his blood. He would live. When he woke up, Yuna was there. His first words were angry. "You went to the Keth. Alone? Are you insane? Probably you could have died. So could you? That is different. I am just a soldier, and I am just a queen." Yuna leaned closer. "We are both just people, Taesu. People who care about each other. That is why we do stupid things." Taesu was quiet. Then he said, "Why? Why would you risk everything for me?" Yuna's answer was simple. "Because you would have done the same for me. You already did." Taesu had no response to that. Because she was right. From that day forward, something changed between them. The wall around Taesu's heart began to crack. And through the cracks, light began to enter. The final battle was coming. Everyone knew it. The Keth warlord was gathering his entire fleet. Ships from every corner of his empire were flying toward the Valari homeworld. Scouts reported hundreds of warships, maybe thousands. It was the largest fleet the Keth had ever assembled. They were coming to end the war once and for all. In the bunker, the mood was dark. The Valari fleet was strong, but it was not strong enough. They were outnumbered 5-1, maybe more. The math was simple and terrible. If they fought, they would lose. Queen Yuna called a meeting of all her advisors and commanders. Taesu stood in the corner, watching and listening. He had been quiet for days, thinking, "We must fight." One commander said, "We cannot surrender. The Keth will kill us all anyway." "But fighting is death," another said. "We should flee. Take what ships we can and find a new home among the stars. And leave our world." "Never." The argument went back and forth. No one had a good answer. There was no good answer. Then Taesu spoke. "There is another way." Everyone turned to look at him. The queen raised her hand, telling the others to be quiet. "Speak," Yuna said. Taesu walked to the center of the room. A map of the Keth fleet appeared in the air, a hologram showing hundreds of red dots. "The Keth are strong because they are united," he said. "They follow one leader, the warlord. Every command comes from him. Every ship, every soldier, every attack. He is their brain. Without him, they are nothing but a mob." Lord Han frowned. "What are you suggesting?" "I am suggesting we cut off the head." Taesu pointed at the center of the fleet. "The warlord's flagship? I take a small team, we sneak aboard and we kill him. When he dies, the chain of command will break. The fleet will fall into chaos. Then your ships can attack and win." The room was silent. "That is madness," Lord Han said. "The flagship is the most protected ship in the fleet. You would never reach the warlord. I would. You would die trying." "Maybe," Taesu shrugged. "But I would rather die fighting than hide in a bunker waiting for the end." Yuna's voice cut through the room. "No." Taesu looked at her. "My queen?" I said no. "I forbid it." Her eyes were hard, but Taesu could see something behind them. Fear not for herself. "For him, this is the only way," he said softly. "It is a suicide mission." "You know you will not come back, I know. Then why?" Taesu was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Because you gave me a reason to live. You and your people. You took a broken man and gave him purpose again. Let me use that purpose to save you." Yuna stood from her chair. "I did not save you so you could throw your life away. You saved me so I could choose how to use my life. This is my choice." They stared at each other. The whole room held its breath. Finally, Lord Han spoke. "My queen, I hate to say this, but the human may be right. This is our best chance." "Our only chance." Yuna closed her eyes. When she opened them again, they were wet with tears she refused to let fall. "Fine," she said, "but you are not going alone." Taesu assembled his team that night. He sent messages to a nearby station where human mercenaries often gathered. 6 of them answered his call. They were soldiers like him. Men and women who had nothing to lose and everything to prove. There was G1, a quiet woman with deadly aim. Hyun, a big man who laughed at danger. Mira, a pilot who could fly anything. Dong-soo, an explosives expert. Yoonbai, a former Special Forces officer. And Sang-ho, the youngest, barely 20 years old. 6 Valari warriors also joined the team. They were the best soldiers Yuna had. They had trained with Tae-soo for months. They trusted him with their lives, 12 people in total. 12 against thousands. On the night before the mission, Yuna came to Tae-soo's room. I want you to promise me something, she said. What? Promise me you will come back. Tae-soo shook his head. I cannot promise that. Promise me anyway. He looked at her. In the soft light, she looked young and vulnerable. Not a queen. Just a woman who did not want to lose someone she cared about. I will try, he said. That is all I can offer. Yuna stepped closer. She took his hand in hers. That is enough. They stood like that for a long moment. Then Yuna did something unexpected. She leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his. Among the Valari, this was a gesture of deep connection, of trust, of something more. Come back to me, she whispered. I will try, he said again. And this time, he meant it. The mission began at dawn. The small ship slipped through the chaos of battle. The Valari fleet had engaged the Keth as a distraction. Explosions lit up the sky. Ships crashed and burned. It was beautiful and terrible. Mira flew the ship through the madness. She was the best pilot Tae-soo had ever seen. She dodged debris and enemy fire like it was a dance. 2 minutes to the flagship, she said. Tae-soo checked his weapons. His team was ready. Their faces were calm. They knew what they were flying into. The ship crashed into the flagship's hangar bay. The doors blew open. The team poured out, weapons blazing. The fighting was brutal. The Keith were everywhere. They were bigger, stronger, better armored. But Tae-soo's team was faster, smarter, and fighting for something more than orders. They pushed forward, deeper into the ship. Every corridor was a battle. Every room was a trap. One by one, the team began to fall. Hyen went down first, holding off a squad of Keth so the others could escape. He was still laughing when he fell. Dong-soo died setting charges on the ship's power core. His last words were, "Tell them I did something that mattered." Yoonbai and Sang-ho fell, defending a narrow passage. They stood back to back, fighting to the end. G1 took a shot meant for Tae-soo. She pushed him aside and fell with a smile. Go, she said. Finish it. The Valari warriors fell one by one, each buying precious time with their lives. In the end, only Tae-soo reached the warlord's chamber. The warlord was waiting for him. He was massive, nearly 3 meters tall, covered in black armor that seemed to drink the light. In his hand was a huge sword, crackling with dark energy. The human, the warlord said. I have heard of you. The queen's pet. Tae-soo raised his knife. It looks small and pathetic compared to the warlord's weapon. I am no one's pet, he said. I am the one who is going to kill you. The warlord laughed. You are already dead, human. You just do not know it yet. They fought. It was not a fair fight. The warlord was stronger, faster, better equipped. He hit Tae-soo again and again. Tae-soo flew across the room, crashed into walls, felt his bones crack, but he got up. Every time he got up, why do you keep fighting? The warlord asked, almost curious. You are beaten. Accept your death. Tae-soo spit blood. Humans do not know how to give up. It is our greatest weakness. And our greatest strength. Attacked again. This time he was smarter. He had been watching the warlord's movements, learning his patterns. He saw the weakness, a gap in the armor under the left arm. He dodged a heavy swing. He rolled under the warlord's guard, and he drove his knife deep into the gap. The warlord screamed. He fell to his knees. Tae-soo pulled out the knife and stabbed again, and again. until the warlord stopped moving. Then Tesu collapsed. He lay on the floor of the chamber, surrounded by blood. His blood. The warlord's blood. He could not move. He could barely breathe. His body was broken in too many places. This was it. This was the death he had been looking for. But strangely, he did not feel at peace. He thought of Yuna. He thought of her voice, her smile, her promise. "I told her I would try to come back," he whispered to himself. "I guess I failed." He closed his eyes. Far away on the Valari homeworld, Queen Yuna felt something cold pass through her heart. She did not know why, but she knew he was dying. She ran to the hangar bay. Her advisors shouted at her. Guards tried to stop her. She pushed past all of them. She took a shuttle. A small, fast ship. She flew it herself. She was coming for him, Yuna. Flew through hell. The space around the Keth flagship was filled with fire and death. Ships crashed into each other. Explosions bloomed like flowers of destruction. Debris flew everywhere, sharp and deadly. But Yuna did not stop. She could not stop. Her shuttle was hit twice. Alarms screamed at her. Smoke filled the small cabin. She ignored it all. She kept flying, pushing the damaged ship forward. "Come on," she whispered. "Come on, hold together." The flagship's hangar bay was ahead. It was damaged now, flames pouring from the entrance. But it was open. She aimed her shuttle at it and pushed the engines to their limit. The shuttle crashed through the flames and hit the hangar floor hard. The impact threw Yuna forward. Her head hit the control panel. Blood ran down her face. She did not care. She got up and ran. The flagship was in chaos. Without the warlord, the Keth soldiers did not know what to do. Some were fighting. Some were running. Some were just standing, confused and lost. Yuna pushed through them. She picked up a weapon from a fallen soldier, a simple Keth pistol. She had never used one before. She fired it anyway. "Get out of my way," she said to any Keth who stood in her path. Most of them did. Something in her eyes scared them. They saw a queen who had nothing left to lose. A queen who would burn the universe to find one man. She followed the trail of bodies. Tesu had left a path of destruction behind him. Dead Keth soldiers filled the corridors. Some still held their weapons. Some had died running away. Yuna kept moving. Her legs were tired. Her lungs were burning. The wound on her head was making her dizzy. But she did not stop. She found the door to the warlord's chamber. It was open. She stepped inside. The room was a mess of blood and broken things. The warlord lay on the floor, huge and dead. His sword was still in his hand, and near him, in a pool of blood, lay Tesu. Yuna ran to him. She fell to her knees beside him. Her hands shook as she touched his face. She said, "Tesu, can you hear me?" His eyes flickered open. They were dim, barely alive. But he saw her. He saw her face, and something like a smile touched his lips. "Yuna," he whispered. "You came." "Of course I came, you fool. Did you think I would let you die alone?" "I thought. I told you to stay safe. I told you to come back. We both broke our promises." Tears were running down her face now. She did not try to stop them. "But I am here now. And I am taking you home." Tesu shook his head weakly. "I am too hurt. Leave me. Get out while you can." "No, the ship is falling apart." "There is no time." I said no. Yuna grabbed his arm and pulled it over her shoulder. "I am not leaving you. Not now. Not ever." She stood up, lifting him with her. He was heavy. Too heavy. Her body screamed at her to stop. She kept going. Step by step, she dragged him through the corridors. The ship was shaking now. Explosions echoed in the distance. The power flickered on and off. The whole structure was dying. Keth soldiers ran past them. They did not stop to fight. They were too busy saving themselves. "Why?" Tesu asked, his voice barely a breath. "Why are you doing this?" "Because you did it for me," Yuna said. "You ran into fire to save a stranger. You fought when you should have run. You gave everything for people who were not your own." She paused to catch her breath. Now, I am doing the same for you. I am not worth it. You are worth it to me. They reached the hangar. The shuttle was still there, damaged but not destroyed. Yuna dragged Taesu inside and laid him on the floor. She ran to the controls. The shuttle lifted off. The hangar was collapsing around them. Fire reached for the ship like hungry fingers. But Yuna flew through it, just like she had flown in. Behind them, the Keth flagship exploded. A ball of fire and light, beautiful and terrible. Yuna did not look back. She flew toward her homeworld. Toward safety. Toward hope. The Valari fleet had won. Without the warlord, the Keth armada had fallen apart. Some ships surrendered. Some fled. Some crashed into each other in the confusion. The battle was over. But Yuna did not care about the battle. She only cared about the man bleeding on the floor of her shuttle. She landed at the bunker. Doctors were waiting. They had seen her shuttle coming. They rushed to meet her. Save him, Yuna commanded. Do whatever it takes. Use everything we have. But save him. The doctors took Taesu away. Yuna tried to follow, but her legs finally gave out. She collapsed on the hangar floor. Lord Han found her there. He helped her up and brought her to a medical room. Her wounds were treated. Her body was cleaned. But she did not rest. How is he? She asked every hour. Is he alive? Will he survive? The answers were not good. His injuries were too severe. Human bodies were fragile compared to Valari. The doctors did not know if he would make it. Yuna waited. She sat outside the medical room, refusing to leave. Her advisors brought her food. She did not eat. They brought her reports about the victory. She did not care. 3 days passed. On the third night, a doctor came to her. His face was tired, but there was a small light in his eyes. He is awake, the doctor said. He is asking for you, Yuna ran. She had never run so fast in her life. She burst into the room. Taesu was lying on a bed, wrapped in bandages and connected to machines. He looked weak and pale, but his eyes were open. And when he saw her, he smiled. You look terrible, he said. His voice was rough but alive. Yuna laughed. It was a strange sound, half laughter and half crying. You should see yourself. I would rather look at you. She sat beside his bed. She took his hand. It was warm now, alive. You scared me, she said. I thought I was going to lose you. Thought I was going to die, he admitted. But then I saw you. And I thought, if I die now, she is going to be so angry at me. Yuna laughed again, wiping tears from her eyes. You are right. I would have been furious. They sat in silence for a while. Outside, the sun was rising. The first sunrise since the Keith attack began. The world was finally safe. What happens now? Taesu asked. Now we rebuild. The war is over. The Keth are broken. Our people can come out of hiding and reclaim their homes, and us. What happens to us? Yuna looked at him. What do you want to happen? Taesu thought about it. For so long, he had wanted nothing. He had been a ghost, wandering from battle to battle, looking for an end. But now, for the first time in years, he wanted something more. I want to stay, he said. Not as your protector, not because of some ancient law. I want to stay because I want to. Why? Because of you. Squeezed her hand. You saved me, Yuna. Not just my body. You saved something deeper. You made me remember what it feels like to care about something, to hope for something, to love something. Yuna's eyes widened. Love, is that too strong a word? No, she shook her head, smiling through her tears. It is exactly the right word. She leaned down and pressed her forehead against his, just like she had done before the mission. It was a Valari gesture of deep connection, of trust, of love. Stay, she whispered. Stay with me. Not as a guard. Not as a debtor. Stay as family. Family, Taesu repeated. The word felt strange on his tongue, but it also felt right. Yes, family. That is what humans call it, is it not? Taesu nodded. That is what we call it. They stayed like that for a long time, forehead to forehead, hand in hand. Outside, the sun continued to rise. A new day was beginning. A new era. The war was over. The Valari had survived. And in the heart of their rebuilt kingdom, a human and a queen stood together, not as protector and queen,